KURINJI Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
KURINJI Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.in.
Hi students, good evening to everyone. Here we are discussing about body fluids and their circulation chapter. Okay, this is one of the last content of our chapter. Here in this chapter we discussed about two body fluids. That two body fluid systems, one is blood and then second one lymph. How lymph will form, lymphatic system, how it will work, what is the function, these and all we completed in the first. Then after that cardiovascular system, we started cardiovascular system. Before cardiovascular system, about blood composition in the structural organization time we see. In that blood composition time, white blood cells or RBC, red blood cells or platelets, these. On the time we explained about RBC and then WBC significance, what is their types and then what is their functions, type and functions we see. But platelets wise I didn't discuss on the structural organization time. But in this body fluids and circulation time, platelets, what is the role? Blood clotting wise we see. In the topic blood clotting process, platelet significance, their functions, everything we see. So that is a blood clotting. And then one more video regarding about blood groups. How human being having the different type of blood groups. What are the different type A and B, AB, O based on the two antigens, A antigen and B antigens. How they are responsible to the formation of different blood groups. I mean 4 blood groups. When we are free time, we will discuss about some of the other very rare blood groups also. And then again that blood groups, again how it is divided into the positive and negative, A positive, A negative, thus and also we discussed. Totally these are the regarding blood groups. Okay, adikapram blood vascular system. In the blood vascular system, heart function, and then before heart function, heart structure, external heart structure and internal heart structure. Okay, that how the heart walls are made of which components, that we seen internally, what are the arrangement, what are the different walls. Totally 6 walls are present in heart, that are all completed. Okay, then here in the last previous videos we discussed about heart function, that cardiac cycle. In the cardiac cycle, how the 4 different steps, joint diastole, after joint diastole just resting stage, nothing but resting stage, then atrial systole after ventricular systole and cardiac diastole. These are the 4 different steps. By these 4 different steps, heart will pump the blood to the different body parts. And the time we have to calculate about how much blood is omitted or flowed came out from the heart ventricles onwards, that we calculate, that is a cardiac output. Correct now? If you want to take cardiac output, means beforely we want to count stroke value. That is stroke volume calculated for one heartbeat wise, how much blood volume came out from the heart. Okay, next here blood flow in the blood vessels. So how the blood vessels are playing important role in this. Okay, then next what are the blood vessels? That blood vessels wall made up of the which components and some of the disorders of the heart related, okay, cardiovascular disorders. Okay, we will see in this video. That only here I mentioned blood vessels. What are the blood vessels are present in our cardiovascular system, and then disorders of the circulatory system. Okay, still one more video in the coming to the next video. It is a conclusion video. Okay, so this video will give the some of the information regarding the blood vessels and disorders of the cardiovascular system. Let me start today video session. See Nana, on the first column blood vessels. Blood vessels is nothing but these are the flow allowing, I mean fluid allowing, are nothing but a tubular structures. See here directly I will read on what I wrote on the board. Tubular networks, because of the veins and arteries are present all over our body in the network form. So a tubular networks through the body, those tubular networks are permits the blood. So that's why beginning of my explanation I said which of the vessels are allowing. See, vessels means nothing but a flow allowing structures that I want to convey to you. So tubular networks through the body permits the blood flow from the heart to all the living cells. Here I am stress about all the living cells. In our body we are having some of the living cells and then some of the non-living cells also. Non-living cells does not have any blood circulation. Okay, if you need some example about non-living cells, nails is the non-living cells. Okay, and then hair also non-living cells. They are getting the nutritional from the base of their bottom. Okay, but it will also show the growth, but they does not have any blood circulation. So that's why when we cutting of the nails with nail cutter, we does not get much more pain. If you keep the nail cutter in the somewhat of more bottom place, I mean origin place, if the skin is damaged, means we will get something significant pain because of that place. Lot of sense organs and then lot of blood vessels are there. So if blood vessels are very sensitive, if damaged means we will get pain. So that is the thing. So non-living cells does not have any blood flow. That only here statement explanation. Okay, tubular network through the blood flow through the body, total body they are arranged, permits the blood to flow from the heart to all the living cells. Not only sending, they are receiving the back side also. So they take back them heart. Okay, so they are blood is taken from the heart to supply the different body parts. Then onwards, body parts onwards, again they are receiving and sent to the heart. These are the functions of blood. Here, whether that blood is oxygenated blood or deoxygenated blood, whatever it is. So in the total blood vascular system, the blood vessels are three type of blood vessels are there. Three type. Okay. Majorly, we can able to distinguish the blood vessels in the two categories. One is arteries, another one is the veins. Okay, but now I said three categories. Why I said three types? Arteries and veins are connecting with the help of the very minute blood vessels. That blood vessels we call the capillaries. Capillaries. So that's why by the serial order I mentioned on the board, arteries and here veins. In between the arteries and veins I mentioned the capillaries. So arteries, veins are connected with the help of capillaries. Okay, that you should be remembering. Okay, below the arteries I wrote one more word, arterioles, and then veins bottom below venules. Here arteries are bigger lumen vessels. I mean lumen means inside of the blood vessel the cavity, I mean empty place, and which of the place is allowing the blood flow, those places is somewhat of wider. So those vessels we called as a arteries. Okay, so I mean I am telling about the space of the lumen, based on the space of the lumen, arteries, and then arteries having the long width lumen, and then arterioles leads to the next arterioles. These arterioles very less diameter of lumen comparing the arteries. That arterioles leads to the next part, next tubes, capillaries. That capillaries again leads to next venules. Venules are somewhat of little bit bigger diameter than the capillaries. Venules next continuation with veins. So gradually from the arteries to veins, gradually diameter will decrease up to arteries to capillaries. Now capillaries to veins, diameter will increase. Which diameter? Lumen of the blood vessels diameter will increase. That statement you should be remember. Okay. Then next here we want to know the wall of the blood vessel made up of the what structures. Wall of the blood vessel, how we seen in the heart wall. Heart wall made up of the three layers. Okay, epicardium, myocardium, endocardium, like that. Here blood vessel also made up of the three layers. That three layers, for understanding wise, I partitions like this. Tunica externa, the blood vessel wall is made up of the three layers. Outer layer tunica externa, and then middle layer tunica media. The third tunica interna. These are the names of three layers present in the blood vessels. Tunica externa, tunica media, and tunica interna. Now these tunica externa, first point, tunica externa also called as a tunica adventitia. These three membranes made up of the different structures, different type of cells. Why the different type of cells? Based on their function is differ. So basing on their requirement, basing on their functions, they are made up of the different structures, different cells. So here first layer of the blood vessels, tunica externa and tunica adventitia, made up of the fibrous connective tissue. Okay va? And then next tunica media composing with smooth muscle tissue. Then tunica interna, it is made up of the endothelium, and along with that basement membrane also is there. You know the significance of the basement membrane. It is a junctional point, junctional membrane. If any two membranes are separated to each other, in between of that basement membrane is there. Already we seen these basement membrane significance in the gases exchanging in the alveoli, correct na? And the tissue places. Alveoli to oxygen want to enter into the blood vessel, on the time exchanging time, alveoli squamous epithelium, and then blood vessel endothelium, in between squamous epithelium and then endothelium, basement membrane. The same thing, basement membrane is present in the tunica interna. That made up of the tunica interna, made up of the these endothelium and basement membrane. Okay, right. See, these two only we seen there exchanging time of gases. See here, if you see in the first column, I separated the one zigzag line here, two zigzag lines I mentioned. It is a diagrammatic imaginary explanation. Here tunica externa, tunica media, in between the tunica externa, tunica media, a elastic layer is there. This is the time to give the one imaginary explanation to you. When you are cutting of any cable wire, dish, our TV cable wire is there now. When you cut it, that outer side, everyone may be white or black color plastic coating is there. If you remove that plastic plastic coating, black or white color layer, inside one mesh, aluminum mesh layer is there. In that, if you are removing that one also, then daniki ulla inside of that again one white color sponge layer is there. If you are removing that one also, a plastic wire is there. Adiki ulla copper tube is there. Correct na? Like that, here blood vessels also inside lumen. If you now imagine like a lumen place is a copper wire. Now copper wire covering with several layers. One is a plastic coating in the normal permeable plastic coating. Above that one feather like structures, smooth, very smooth layer. Adik mele silver coated mesh structure, and then adik outside plastic or plastic white or black color layer. Got it, Nanana? Like that, here blood vessels outer side tunica externa layer is there. Tunica externa ke ulla one more layer tunica media is there. That tunica media, tunica externa is both are separating with one layer, that is a elastic layer. That is elastic layer. And then tunica media second layer and tunica interna third layer both are separated by the one more elastic layer. Now how many elastic layers are present in the blood vessels? 2 elastic layers, 3 blood vessel layers. Okay, so each and every blood vessel layer is separated by the elastic layers, that you should remember it. But I will give one of the important note statement. Arteries containing with 2 elastic layers. Arteries containing with the 2 elastic. That means 2 elastic means both each and every layer of the blood vessel is separated by the elastic layer. So in between the externa and media also one elastic layer, and in between the media and interna also one elastic layer. 2 elastic layers. If you seen in the veins, veins only containing with one elastic layer. 3 blood vessel layers are there, but only one elastic layer. That too it is present in the tunica media and then in between the tunica media and tunica interna. Okay, so here one elastic layer is missing or absent in the veins. That elastic layer absent layer in between of externa and media. That statement you should be remember, Nana. And then up to now we are discussing about arteries and veins, their structure of arteries and veins, internal histology. Then here already I said arteries connecting with veins with the help of the minute blood vessels that we call the capillaries. So we want to know about the capillaries also. So what is the structure of the capillary? Capillary is nothing but a smallest blood vessels. Smallest blood vessels, those are connecting the arterioles with venules, present in between the arterioles with venules. Okay, for your understanding wise, I mentioned a flow chart here. Inga paringa light pointer place paringa. Here heart onwards, blood, oxygenated blood is taken by arteries or pumping by the arteries. I mean blood is entering into the artery, big vessels, nothing but aortic arch. Okay, systemic artery. That systemic artery onwards some of the minute blood vessels will form, that is called arterioles. So already I said artery diameter is somewhat of bigger, arterioles than arterioles. So arterioles diameter small, so that's why diagrammatically represented small narrow place. Arterioles onwards blood will be flowing to the continuation in the capillaries, and then capillaries onwards blood will be continue in the next venules. Venules onwards blood will enter the veins. These veins deoxygenated blood will be giving to the again heart. How here heart oxygenated blood is changed into the deoxygenated. Here capillaries onwards body parts will be exchanging the gases. Correct na? So nutrient things, gases they are exchanging by the capillaries. Then venules onwards deoxygenated blood, carbon dioxide is enter into the venules. Venules after veins. Okay, so this is the sequence order. So this is a proper blood flow of blood vessels. Okay, blood flow in the blood vessels, that blood vessel sequence order I mentioned here. Then here how the blood vessel wall is made up of the 3 layers, as like a capillary wall also, not yet composing by the 3 layers, only single layer, not like arteries and veins, capillary wall. So it is we can distinguish the arteries and veins with capillaries. How we can distinguish here arteries distinguished with veins based on the elastic layer. If your blood vessel containing the only one elastic layer in between the media and then interna, tunica media and interna, that is belongs to vein. If it is 2 elastic membranes are there, means that is belongs to artery. So there is no any 3 layers, only one single layer of blood vessel composing with one single layer, that too third one, endothelium and basement membrane, that is indicates, so that is a capillary. Okay, so wall of capillary inga pointer place, the wall of capillary simple squamous epithelium, it is made up of the simple squamous epithelium or endothelium, that only here I mentioned. Why we call that is the endothelium? Okay, here that epithelium layer formed from the embryonic developmental layer, which layer? Endoderm is there na. If epithelium layer formed from the endoderm, that we call the endothelium. If it is formed from the mesoderm, means that is a mesothelium. If it is formed from the epithelium, means epiderm, means that is a epithelium. Okay, so here the capillary layer, capillary wall made up of the simple means single layer, squamous, how the cells structure just like a tiles madri. So that epithelium formed from the endoderm, so that's why we given the name is a endothelium. This is the site for exchanging. Okay, and then here already I mentioned no connective tissue, no muscular tissue. No connective tissue, muscular tissue means that tunica externa, tunica media is absent in the capillaries. Because of tunica externa is made up of the connective tissue, tunica media is made up of the smooth. So that is the differentiation of the blood vessels and composition of the blood vessels. Okay, then come to the differences of the arteries and veins. You know all the differences of arteries and veins. So orally will explain, along with oral explanation, a major difference is what you does not know, that only I mentioned there. Okay, so first one arteries. By hearing of arteries, you know one thing. Arteries are carrying the oxygenated blood from the heart to different body parts, that we know. Then veins are carrying the deoxygenated blood from the different body parts to sending to the heart, carrying to heart. Okay, up to heart, that we know. But all arteries and all veins not like that. Here all arteries are carrying the oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery carrying the deoxygenated blood. Yesterday we already discussed. Veins, double circulation time we discussed, correct. And then veins time, all veins are carrying the deoxygenated blood except pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins are carrying the oxygenated blood. Because of arteries means which of the blood vessels are sending the blood from the heart to different body parts, that we call the arteries. Which of the blood vessels are receiving the blood from the different body parts and sending to the heart, that we call the veins. So here pulmonary veins taking the blood from the lungs, which blood? Oxygenated blood, that is the reason. Okay, you can understand you get it clarity. Okay, that is the first one. And then when that artery is containing with the oxygenated blood is a bright red because of oxyhemoglobin kadanana. Oxyhemoglobin having the ability to give the more bright red in color. And then when you coming to the veins blood color dark red color. Okay, somewhat of, so dark red color means somewhat of bluish nature will be there. When that blood is mixing with the carbon dioxide, a little bit bluish red. So that is a reason. If you see in that heart diagram, in the colorful diagram, oxygenated blood portions are everything they are painting, or they are giving the color red color. And then deoxygenated blood containing portions are everything in the blue color. Okay, that is a different color differentiation. And then these here one important point, the third point I am saying, mostly arteries are present in the everything in the deep levels, deep layers. That means there is, if you cut that, unfortunately any finger cutted by the slide or any blade, okay, blood will bleed. Which blood cells are damaged? Which blood vessels are damaged? Arteries damaged, veins damaged. Veins only damaged because of arteries are present in somewhat of deeper levels of the in the meat. I mean flesh. Okay, deeper levels of the skin. But veins not like that. Veins are present in the upper layer. So for your understanding wise, if you are press your clenched fist, your palm, if you press, close it now, you can able to find it veins, blue color veins can able to appearance on your arm. Okay, that is the thing. So here based on the location, arteries are very deeper situated, deeper levels, layers, and then veins are superficial. Then arteries lumen is very narrow. Okay, comparing with veins lumen diameter of the lumen is width is very more wide width. Okay, that is our on one more point. So these two are does not know, so that's why I mentioned here. And then along with that, we know already we here discussed veins are only one elastic membrane. Arteries are only arteries containing the two elastic membranes, layers in between of the blood vessel layers that we seen. And then arteries are non-valvular. Inside of the lumen of the blood vessels, if you take arteries, that is the arteries, there is not yet have any check post. I mean non-valvular walls are not yet present. The simultaneously that side veins observation time, veins are containing with valvular, because of here arteries are sending the blood to the different body parts. In that time, the very forcibly blood will be sending from the heart. On that situation, blood vessels are having the walls means blood flow will be interrupting. Correct now? So for restriction that one, avoiding of that one, arteries not yet have any walls. But here veins they are containing with valvular. Here post vena cava or sub vena cava. On the time sub vena cava is receiving the blood from the different body parts of the lower body parts. So lower body parts onwards blood is coming to upside. It is affected by the gravitation force. So gravitation force is pulling the back side. So avoid that one. Veins are having the walls. If the blood is going to upward direction, so some blood is going to upward direction, it will not going a backward direction. That backward direction flow is interrupting by the walls. Walls will prevent it to backward direction of the blood in the veins. So veins requires that walls. That is the one important differentiation. Okay. And second differentiation, more pressure. Already I explained one time, arteries are pumping the blood with heart contraction, by the heart contraction. When the heart contracted, blood will be pumping by more pressure. But veins are not at have that much of pressure. And here it is interrupted by the gravitation force also. That is also, so that pressure is low in the veins and pressure is very more, blood flow pressure is very more in the arteries. That is the one thing. Okay, so here that is the differentiations. And then one more differentiation, you know, here artery system is end with the capillary, but vein system start with the capillaries, that we seen. Okay, very most important this statement, so that's why I mentioned as a note. A smallest blood vessels present in the wall of the blood vessels. Are you understand what I am saying? A blood vessel, that blood vessel function is supplying the blood to the different body parts. If the blood vessel is somewhat of bigger size, I mean somewhat of a large size, that larger size containing blood vessels also, blood wall also required some of the blood supply. So such a time some of the minute blood vessels are supplying the blood to blood vessels walls. So such a type of blood vessels we call as a such a type of blood vessels we call as a vasa vasorum. These vasa vasorum blood vessels we seen in the aortic arch. Aortic arch origin from the left ventricle. So the left ventricle onwards, the big blood vessel is came out from the heart. So that big blood vessels also requires blood supply. Walls also requires a blood supply. So that's why these vasa vasorum is playing important role in the supplying of blood to blood vessels walls. So that's why in the bracket I mentioned vessels of the vessels. vessels of the vessels. Which of the blood vessels are supplying the blood to the blood vessels? Such a blood vessels we call as a vasa vasorum. Okay, that is a note. And then now I will enter into the disorder of circulatory system. I mean body fluid circulatory system. Okay, today I will tell about the only one disorder, that hypertension. Hypertension is nothing but high blood pressure. High blood pressure. These high blood pressure causing by the, I mean when we want to measure that blood pressure, we want to find the blood pressure in the arteries. Arteries. So the process, everything you know, you've seen in the some of the movies, or maybe some of the your neighbors or your family members went to normal health checkup. The time they will calculate, they will check the BP of the patient with one instrument, that is a sphygmomanometer. Here, sphygmomanometer. The sphygmomanometer having some of the indicates in the one scale. Mercury liquid, mercury droplet will be going to upward direction and going to downwards direction. The technician person will know how to calculate it. That olden days, one just air filled bubble is there, they will press it. Before that, they will be keep the one bandage on the biceps, above the biceps. If they are pressing that gas bubble, it will fill and tight it, that bandage, it calculate the arteries pressure. Already I said first statement. So blood pressure is calculated in the arteries blood flow. So calculation time, a healthy human being blood pressure is 120/80 mmHg. It is a blood pressure measurement units. Okay. Then that 120 indicates systolic. What is systolic? Cardiac systole is there na? I mean ventricular systole and atrial systole. On that time, heart systoling time, how much blood pressure is happens, causes. So heart contraction time, blood is totally came out from the arteries. Correct na? So that arteries, one pulmonary artery and then a systemic artery, both are taking out the blood with very forcible. So that's why systolic pressure is mentioned above. And then 80 mmHg, that is a diastolic. Diastolic means it is a relaxation time. Heart relaxation time, blood flow, how it is there. So 120/80, the above 120 indicates the systolic pressure, 80 diastolic pressure. That you should be remember. And then if any one person, if hypertension, suffering with hypertension, high and high blood pressure, what is the problem, sir? Here, if the patient, any one person is affected by the hypertension, that hypertension basically not a problem of blood. It is affected to the sensitive organs in our body, vital organs. 3 vital organs. Very, very most important. One is the brain, second one kidney, and then heart. If blood pressure is increases means blood capillaries, blood flow will increase. I mean blood flow rate will increase. So here blood very fastly is going through the blood vessels. On the time it is ready to break the any diluted places. Diluted place means which is the blood vessel having the very thin body wall, blood vessel wall. On the time there is a chance to damage it. Okay, nothing but floods coming time. Some of the rivers or some of the canals are overflow. Okay, because of that river banks or edges places, what we made it that edges that is not sufficient to stop the water pressure. Like that, if the blood pressure is overcrossed, it will burst the blood vessels walls. Okay, maybe that blood walls are burst in the brain, it causes to the brain hemorrhages. Okay, as like a kidney or as like a heart. So a sensitive organs, vital organs will be affected by these hypertension. Okay, that you should be remember. So what is the hypertension, sir? How you say means normal person, a healthy human being, BP is 120 by 80 kada. If that 120 by 80 measurement is crossing to the 140 by 90, that is a slight mild effect of the BP. Okay, that person must be show something care about their BP or intaking food also. Okay, so that is the thing. And why means when what type of food they are eating, that also affected. If he oftenly eat over excessive taking of salt, okay, intaking of salt, if it is excessive means that salt also leads to the hypertension. So that and all we know. So intaking of salt is sufficient is enough, and low also not at it is a problem. Low BP will be causes. So we should be maintain some of the sodium levels in our body fluids up to some limits. Okay, we should not cross it. If cross it means it leads to the hypertension. And along with these some of the disorders also is there: coronary artery diseases and angina pectoris, heart failure, and these and all disorders. Okay, these heart disorders are identified by the one of the diagnostic method, that is a ECG, electrocardiogram, ECG. About these remaining disorders and ECG, how ECG is helpful to the detect of cardiac disorders, cardiac system disorders, that we will see in the next continuation videos. This is the today video. In this video you learned about what are the different blood vessels made up, what they are composing by the what type of layers, these what are the differences between the arteries and veins, these you learned. Okay, and one of the disorder of the circulatory system. Let me wait continuation video. Okay, Nana, thank you.